Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
All right, I think we're all set. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Underground Sports Philadelphia, episode number 452. It's KB and Matt coming at you with the trade deadline breakdown. We're going to be breaking down everything that happened with the Phils, Major League Baseball, and the what could have happened. Plus, we might text Noah Syndergaard live on the pod since he's now a Philadelphia Philly, and his Twitter bio says to text him, so we'll see what happens. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials, though, at UndergroundPHI on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you enter our giveaway. That is our pinned tweet on Twitter. Last full week to get in on that. We're announcing the winner next week on the 8th for the Brian Dawkins variant cover of Wolverine number 22. All you got to do is retweet, follow, and then you get an extra entry if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. So go check out the giveaway at UndergroundPHI. Follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Castorina. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com, for all of our written content. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews as well. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. We hit 200 subscribers yesterday, and then I woke up and we got Eric Hosmer a little bit, and people said, nah, not going to let you hit it yet. So go subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Smash the like button. Click the bell icon so you don't miss a single episode of your favorite Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast in full video form. Big thank you to our sponsors who make this show happen. Main Auto LLC, Ducharme's Pro Foot, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, Mark Ronchetti CPA LLC, and the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland. Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. Go to tomahawkshades.com. Use promo code USP at checkout for 25% off your entire order at tomahawkshades.com. Kenwood Beer, go to kenwoodbeer.com and use the all-new and improved Kenny tracker to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. You got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. And Bino Board. Go to binoboard.com and use code BINOUSP for 10% off your order at binoboard.com. What's going on, Matt?
Living the dream.
Dave Dombrowski was living the dream yesterday as he was wheeling and dealing. 3 new members of the Philadelphia Phillies, 2 members of the Phillies now gone, and our boy is gone as well. We'll get into all of it, but the first move that went down was the Phillies acquired outfielder Brandon Marsh, a.k.a. Forrest Gump, from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim for catching prospect Logan O'Hoppe, a 1-for-1 deal that left a lot of people scratching their heads at first, being that just a week or 2 ago, it was kind of known that Logan O'Hoppe was being turned down in most trade offers, and then you trade him for a center fielder who is 24 years old, is under team control through 2027, but has struck out in 36% of his plate appearances so far this year. Is hitting, I believe, 226 or 236 this season. Not really great at the plate, but he's all-star Gold Glove caliber center fielder defensively, which is something the Phillies have lacked kind of since Shane Victorino left town. But Brandon Marsh, the new everyday center fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, I think they're just making the bet that you can improve offensively while having the good defensive skills that he has, which is not something you can... Good defensive skills is not something you can say of many of our outfield options at the moment. So I think it's a fine bet. O'Hoppe, listen, I think we've all enjoyed the last 3 months of pretending like Logan O'Hoppe is going to be some great savior for us. But the reality is you have JT for another 3 years. There's just very little chance of him breaking through that barrier at any point in those 3 years. And we've seen Philly prospects all the time, and this happens to every team all across. Where you have these prospects that hit well, have these good seasons, and everyone kind of attaches hopes and dreams to them, and then it doesn't turn out right. We've seen that with another guy that gets traded yesterday too, where it's just sometimes these guys don't pan out. There's no guarantee. What I found interesting too is that he immediately though became the highest rated prospect in the Angels farm system.
Yes, number 1,
which says.
a lot about their farm system.
Yes, I think it says more about us than them. I think it's fine. I think you get someone that can help you now, and again, like you said, has team control for another 5 years. It's a position that we've constantly shifted in and out of. I think the only beef is that Veerling's been pretty good this year. And you're kind of displacing him for this, but I don't think it's like a bad bet here. I think it's a fine move. This is like the type of move that if this is the only thing you get, you're throwing rocks through the building.
Right.
But yeah, I think this is like a fine on the margins type of deal.
Yeah, and Rob Thompson said that he talked to Matt Veerling about the move too, and said, you're still going to get opportunities to play. It might not be in center field every day, but like you're going to get opportunities to play at second, play at third, play different corner outfield spots. And Matt Veerling, I don't think is going anywhere. Like you said, he's played very well this year, has earned a spot on this roster. And I think it was also said Dombrowski in his presser with the media afterwards said they think there's some minor tweaks that the Phillies hitting, coaches and stuff can do to Brandon Marsh's swing that can turn him into like an all-star caliber player, which if they figure out his, plate approach and he can, start hitting the ball and say, even if he's hitting like 270, that's a massive win, because not only are you getting your everyday Gold Glove center fielder, you have a guy who can hit potentially at the top of the lineup. He can run a little bit, and he's on a team-friendly, under-control contract for the next 5 seasons. I think that's pretty big for a guy who was also a highly touted prospect in the Angels system just a couple years ago.
Yeah, so I just did a quick comparison to like the last year. Oh, God. Oh, Lord have mercy. Of Veerling and Brandon Marsh. And, like some stats, like Veerling definitely better on, like he's definitely been a better hitter, but Brandon Marsh has been a one WAR player over the past year, and he's had like almost double the plate appearances, so that helps. Whereas Veerling's been a 0.2. You look at a lot of their numbers, and they're actually like some of the advanced numbers not that different. They're not like markedly different players. In fact, Veerling probably provides a little better value, like overall. And I just think again, you can if you're making the bet that you think there's something about this guy you can improve, and he has these other like potentially elite tools, that's good.
And I think a lot of things get a little twisted too with Brandon Marsh because he's been playing left field for the Angels, because up until a couple weeks ago, they typically have this guy known as Mike Trout in center field. So he's been playing, I don't know if out of position is the correct term, but all of his like stats and stuff for this season have been with him playing left field for the most part. But this move also called for the end of Odubel Herrera. He's been DFA'd. He's gone.
Some true first team all bozo, getting shipped out.
Number 37 is no more.
Peace.
And it is now Brandon Marsh, who will wear number 16 for the Phillies. Do with that as you will, my fellow Jersey analytics people. The next move that was made is a familiar face coming back. We talked about this probably like 2 months ago, Matt. David Robertson is back in a Phillies uniform.
We said how funny it would be. And it's still very funny.
It's so funny. D-Rob's back.
Don't hate it.
In exchange for another guy that was deemed nearly untouchable just a few weeks ago. And that is one Ben Brown. Yeah. Traded to the Cubs. Has been having kind of a breakout season this year in the minor leagues for the Phils. Big arm, 6'6". Was kind of like the number 4 pitching prospect in the Phillies system outside of the big 3. But another 1-for-1 deal, and David Robertson is bringing his talents back to Philadelphia.
Yeah. You know what I think is so funny about all this is like, not to jump the gun here, but people were like all about Rodon, right? And like, yeah. Fair enough, because he's great, but Rodon, like mentally, the reason Rodon was available even was because he's had an injury plagued like past few years, and he signed this just like
insane
bumper kind of
clause.
contract, like that just is so rare that like no one mentioned that about Rodon. It's like, oh, why is he available halfway through the season like this? That's so weird. That's so weird.
The Giants are bad.
But it would just be so Phillies to have traded a ton and it just been a Dave Robertson situation. Except it would have been even more likely because Rodon's had an injury. Whereas when we traded for Robertson, he was like an Iron Man. Like he's so
pitched 7 games in a Phillies uniform.
Yeah. So and everything he said too is that he was excited to be back, and I'm excited to have him back. Honestly, I think he's still got something to prove, and
he's pitching very well this year for the Cubs too. Like at 37 years old, he's been like a dominant back end of the bullpen closer type for them. I think he has 14 saves this year. Let me pull up the rest of his stats, but like he's been like a workhorse at the back end of the bullpen as a 37-year-old, like you said, Iron Man. It's just very funny that he's back. He will wear number 30 again, which Edmundo Sosa, who was also acquired by the Phillies earlier before the trade deadline, switched his number from 30 to 33. But David Robertson this year, 37 games, 3-0 with a 2.18 ERA in 41 1/3 innings pitched, 53 strikeouts, a 1.02 whip. He's having just like nearly a career year this year. Best he's performed really since like that dominant run he had with the Yankees. It's wild that he's back, and I think it's one of those cool second chance moments. And I think Tim Kelly might have tweeted it from Phillies Nation that if David Robertson's part of the back end of the bullpen that helps his Phillies team make the playoffs for the first time since 2011, that will be a really cool like full circle story.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So he joins what has really turned into a pretty formidable bullpen now, Matt, because Jeurys Familia also designated for assignment to make room for David Robertson. So first team all bozo, completely gone now as Jeurys Familia. C'est la vie, pal. Get the fuck out.
I'd like to say that we'll miss you, but
we
absolutely will not.
I'm fully convinced that he was just a New York Mets industry plant.
Yes.
And the fact that Philadelphia has had way too many former rival industry plants come into this city on teams over the past few years is quite insane.
Got one a year. We need to start, I don't know, talking to NSA or the FBI. Get really behind
better
these
vetting
guys.
process.
Yeah, like let's figure it out.
Because it all started with DeMarco Murray back in the day, and then Al Horford came to town, and then Ryan Kerrigan last year for the Eagles, and now Jeurys Familia, who was just absolutely terrible, and also not so great quote from Zach Wheeler saying that Jeurys Familia is a great guy. He's one of my best friends. Zach, maybe you need to find some better friends, buddy.
Jesus, don't get your finger caught in your zipper again.
But David Robertson's back. That deal I was like kind of okay with simply because Ben Brown, like I said, was like number 4 in terms of the big pitching prospects that the Phillies had. I think he's going to be very successful with the Cubs. I think that's a good pickup for them as well for the long term. And, down the line, he's probably going to be in that rotation for the Cubs if everything pans out for him the way that it has so far in his minor league career, because he looks like he's going to be a major league pitcher.
Yeah.
Then the next one happened, which I don't know why they couldn't have made the deal together. Noah Syndergaard is now a Philadelphia Philly. Thor is coming to the city of brotherly love in exchange for one of our hashtag podcast guys, which it was very evident, Matt, on Twitter. Some people just follow us and don't listen to the show because if you listened, you would know we are Mickey Moniak stans. Mickey is now gone, going to Disneyland.
There are worse. I'll tell you this: there are worse states to end up. I'm not going to pretend like the Angels is the best.
He is from California too,
so it's a bummer.
Sucks that Mickey's gone.
It was a good run.
It was a good run. I still believe I'm excited for him to kind of go out to a team where there's not as much pressure, and he'll get to learn from Mike Trout and be there with them. And there was another prospect traded as well. I'm just trying to see. Jidel Sanchez was also traded in exchange for Noah Syndergaard, who has already enrolled in the Bryce Harper School for Pandering 101 course because he changed his Twitter banner to the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia cast. His Twitter bio is now It's Always Sunny. He changed his profile picture to him photoshopped in a Phillies uniform, and his first tweet after the trade was, well, this is awkward, and it was him stealing the Fanatics ATV 5 years ago.
I sense a reenactment coming. I sense him getting the Fanatic ATV.
And then Rob McElhaney takes to Twitter, does the Chase Utley bit, just switches it to Noah Syndergaard, and he promptly quote tweets it and says, well, this is also awkward, and it was a gif of him a couple years ago with the Mets still throwing a pitch behind a batter. So don't know if he's the best catch partner, Rob, but Noah Syndergaard now in this rotation with Zach Wheeler, reunited, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, who has been very good as of late, and Kyle Gibson, with Zach Eflin being a giant question mark. Needed to go get a starting pitcher. Noah Syndergaard's here.
Zach Eflin's on the 60-day.
Yeah, so
now,
the
right?
earliest he can be activated now, I think, is the end of August.
Yeah, not a great look. Syndergaard's like a great 3 or 4. Like, listen, he is obviously not what he was.
Strikeouts are down, velocity's a little down, but I think this is also like his first full year since surgery.
He also has like a wide range of pitches too. Like he's not just like one of these guys that has like 2 throws. Like that's nice too. Like I listen, if you go into the playoffs with Wheeler, Nola, Syndergaard as your top 3, I think you're in a good spot. Like, and Gibson can.
Ranger Suarez is there.
On a day, Gibson can like handle himself. Yeah. Ranger Suarez, I would be nervous about in a playoff.
At least
situation.
as of late, Ranger Suarez.
Yes. Like this season's Ranger Suarez, I would be nervous about. If we're talking like Ranger Suarez from like September 10th last year, yes. Like,
to like
that's
the last
probably
month
our ace.
of Ranger Suarez, yes.
That's probably our number 2, honestly. Zach Wheeler better watch out. But I think that's fine. I think it's a good deal. We said they needed to go out and get an established starting pitcher. Weren't able to get in on some of the other bigger guys, but it is what it is. I was a little worried in the beginning of the day because so many of the other, like big teams, like especially the ones that we're competing with, making tons of trades. I mean, like an hour before this, you have the Padres just going nuclear, right, and going out and getting Juan Soto. They got Josh Hader, like
Josh Bell,
Brandon Drury in the Juan Soto trade. They got Josh Bell. So, that's what worried me a little bit was just maybe some of these other teams making really kind of big, ambitious moves and the Phillies standing pat. Like, I would give this a B. I think it's not amazing. This isn't like a trade deadline unless, something crazy happens this year and we win a World Series. Then we will talk about it, right? Like, it'll be the Joe Blanton type of thing, right? But I don't think it's one that'll be like etched in memory unless something like that were to happen. I have maintained literally since day 1 of the season that I would believe more that the Phillies can win a World Series and then make the playoffs. And to me, this trade deadline solidifies that belief for me that this team, if they get into the playoffs, I think and Bryce is coming back. He's throwing apparently.
Yeah, he was throwing today at Citizens Bank,
which was
Park.
like a total out of right field, I should say. Like no one was talking about it. Now it's like, oh yeah, he's going to be able to field again, like
in like
sick.
2 weeks.
That's sick.
Gene Segura comes back Thursday.
Like there's a lot to be positive about. I don't know. Like it's. I think it's one of the better trade deadlines we'd had in terms of actually addressing a need, and it wasn't just like these margin guys that were frankly not helpful at all. I think
I'm like trying to remember like when the last trade deadline that like we were like refreshing the timeline, trying to wait and see what was going to happen
before timelines.
Fair.
Honestly, I don't think there's been maybe in the last 2 years we've been like eager to see what the Phillies do, but it hasn't led to nothing.
I think this is the best move they made since getting Corey Dickerson a couple years ago. That was like, okay, like that's a quality bat who can come in and really help this team offensively.
But it was just Corey Dickerson.
Right.
Like that would have been if we just got Brandon Marsh and be like, well, I see that's fine, but not totally what we needed. I think they've it was like the right amount of aggressive for me personally.
And then they got Edmundo Sosa a couple days ago for Jojo Romero.
Right. So not a bad trade deadline for the Phillies.
Yeah, I would say it's about a B-, and I think it can increase on 2 ends. If Brandon Marsh can figure out his approach at the plate and can start hitting the ball, and then do you think they need to re-sign Syndergaard to make it kind of valuable from that trade aspect?
I think you have a better chance of re-signing Syndergaard than you do Rodon. Not that necessarily it's going to happen, but I would say your odds are a little better. I think Rodon to me just seems like he's going to be a Dodger next year or something. You know, like
he's going to go somewhere crazy, get a multi-year deal.
Like I just think he's and fair enough.
Or he'll go to Houston.
He made like a big bet on himself.
Good for him.
Has stayed healthy this year. Been one of the best pitchers in baseball. Like,
or the way they're spending, he'll go to San Diego.
Yeah, and I'd love that. I would love every second of that. Do we want to talk about the Nats at all? So they got Mackenzie Gore, who I love.
Yes, I love Mackenzie Gore,
which is fair enough. It's a strange haul though for Juan Soto,
and Josh Bell, and Luke Voigt instead of Eric Hosmer.
Yeah, well, so Eric Hosmer had the chance to be like the funniest dude ever.
What a fucking legend! He's like, nah, not going there.
He saw his opportunity. He did not miss, but it's a strange like return, I would say, for such a great player.
And it's perfect because the Phillies now have a 4-game series against the Juan Soto-less, Josh Bell-less Washington Nationals this weekend.
Yeah, and we get them even later too. You know, where it's like they'll really.
I think we still have 13 games against the Nationals this year.
That's
inject
great.
it right into my veins.
Yeah.
Juan Soto is gone. He's
out of the division.
He's in the wild card race with us, which is kind of scary for the postseason.
Not for long, because they're going to catch the Dodgers.
That's valid. He's going to San Diego. Josh Bell's going to San Diego. Josh Hader is now in San Diego. And Brandon Drury, who's having like a career of a revitalization with the Reds this year, is also going to San Diego. And Eric Hosmer is now a Boston Red Sox.
I was a year early, I think, on my Padres Yankees
World
Series prediction.
Are the Padres the coolest team in baseball now?
Once Tatis Jr. comes back, yes.
Like they have Tatis.
I think they are the most like lovable team. I think people, and I feel this in a similar way. Like they've just been bad my entire life, pretty much. So it would be nice to see, and everyone wants to go to San Diego. Beautiful weather year round. Like
it's the only pro sports team.
Yeah, like they lost the Chargers. I think there's national goodwill towards San Diego as a sports town.
They now have 3 of the faces of the Dominican team for the World Baseball Classic.
Them winning it too would mean like you have these kind of juggernauts like between the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Yeah.
That I think generally are unlikable teams. Because they're in part big markets, a lot of winning, right? Especially with the Yankees. But so like they're like the third head on that dragon. And it's like actually that's probably the preferred team, I think. If anyone was gonna win it.
They're the dragon meme with the tongue sticking out.
Yes. Except they got a lot more serious.
Yeah,
like
they just have angry eyebrows and they get their tongue.
No, that's
out.
the Mets. The Mets
that's
are the silly dragon. It's gonna be really funny when the Mets fall out of the division and get bounced in the wild card,
and then
by the Padres.
Jacob deGrom's a free agent and rejoins Noah Syndergaard and Zach Wheeler.
How funny
with
is
the
it going to
Phils.
be when the Padres catch the Dodgers somehow, and the Mets collapse, lose the division to the Braves, and get bounced by the Dodgers in the wild card? How funny is that going to be?
We might just have to live stream watching that game because it's going to be electric.
Bozo moment.
How funny would it be, though?
What do you think Steve Cohen's Twitter is looking like? That happens.
He might delete it.
He might start crowdfunding to actually get California to secede, because then maybe it's harder for them, these California teams to be in Major League Baseball. So,
how funny would it be if DeGrom leaves in free agency to rejoin with Wheeler and Syndergaard? Mets fans would be in shambles.
Problem is DeGrom. I don't think this dude can stay healthy.
No.
Not
at all.
Think that's
and apparently he wants to go to the Braves. Because he's from Atlanta.
Why? What, they're going to give you like a
10-year, $100 million contract.
Not even 10. They'll give you like 6. 6 years, $42 million. That's the best we got. And you get a signed Trae Young jersey.
And you get to meet Quavo.
No, not even Quavo. You get
Offset.
You get to go to jail to meet with Young Thug. You get a prison call with Young Thug. That's your signing bonus.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets losing on the day that the Nationals blow it up with DeGrom coming back was just beautiful. Plus, former Iron Pig MVP Joey Meneses hitting the home run off DeGrom was great. We saw him when we were at the Iron Pigs game a few years ago. Spent 11 years in the minor leagues. First hit in his major league career is a home run. That was just beautiful. Phillies split with the Braves.
Let's not talk about that first game, but today was great.
Today was great. Nicky C is back in business, everybody.
Yeah,
you heard that.
I think after the Salisbury incident, he's hitting like 347.
347. He's got the home run. He's got, I think, 7 or 8 RBI. Nice. Thanks, Jim.
Tell you what, my fantasy team really appreciated that too. It's a really good turnaround.
Heard that home run loud and clear. Did you also see the video of Nick's son Liam for his birthday? Nick's mom brought him to the amusement park on the roller coaster.
By the way, I didn't even need to see who tweeted it to know that was Nick Castellanos' son. Like, I just talk about like photocopied.
Looks just like him. Phil split with the Braves, which is great. They've won 3 out of their last 5 against them, and
I've realized this. We are the Marlins to the Braves.
Yes,
they're
like 500 against us.
It's funny that each team in the NL East has a Marlins, except for us when we have the Marlins. Yeah. But like outside of that, it's so funny how this division just hates each other so much.
The Yankees go and get the big swing at the deadline. They get Frankie Montas. Luis Castillo goes to the Mariners. And
surprised by that. I was really taken aback by that.
Tyler Mahle goes to the Twins. To me, that was a win for the Phillies because none of the big pitching names went in the National League.
Yeah, like if you're not going to be the one acquiring them, hope that they stay out of the division and then out of the league. And division-wise, nothing crazy.
The Mets got Michael Givens, Philly legend Darren Ruff is now a Met. And I think that was really it that they did. They didn't pull the trigger on Wilson Contreras, which was kind of surprising to me.
Well, Steve he lost a lot of money in Bitcoin.
That's true. So had to sell his drooling monkey picture.
Him and Ben Simmons having a real tough summer.
The Braves did get better. They went and got Jake Odorizzi from the Astros. They got Raisel Iglesias from the Angels. They got Robbie Grossman from the Tigers. And I think they traded for somebody else, too, if I'm not mistaken. And then they also extended Austin Riley to the most ridiculous team-friendly contract once again. Whoever the agents are for the Braves players, by the way, stop fucking over your players. Like, the fact that Acuna is signed to a 10-year, $100 million contract still blows my mind to this day.
It's just like
Albies is signed to a 7-year, $35 million contract.
Yeah.
And now Austin Riley signed to a 10-year, $213 million contract or whatever it was.
Let's take a look at MLB Power Rankings. Yankees obviously won. So 1, 2, 3 is Yankees, Dodgers, Astros.
Did the
Mets.
Dodgers even...
Dodgers, I don't think...
Get anybody?
Did... Yeah, not much, but...
I don't remember, seeing them...
They got Chris Martin and Joey Gallo.
That's right, they traded for Gallo.
But...
Who he'll probably turn into a 400
they did trade. They traded Mitch White to the Blue Jays.
Okay.
So Dodgers, Astros, Mets, Padres rounding out your top 5. Braves in 6. Where are the Phillies at? You got Phillies at 8 on the Power Rankings. I'll talk to you. So this is just an article talking about post-trade deadline power ranking.
I wasn't impressed with what the Mets did, really. Not that they needed to go and really get anything.
Yeah.
Because, DeGrom is a huge acquisition in and of itself if he stays healthy. The Braves, they got better. The Phillies got better. And, elsewhere in the National League, the Padres obviously won the trade deadline, in my opinion, to go get Juan Soto, to go get Josh Hader, Josh Bell. That's huge. The Yankees did what the Yankees do. They go and get the big names. And they shed Joey Gallo, who was just a shell of himself with the Yankees. I think the Astros got better. They got Will Smith in the Odorizzi trade. They got
They got Trey Mancini too.
Trey Mancini, Christian Vasquez from the Red Sox. So they got better.
Yeah, what's up with the Red Sox fire sale? Tell you what, that Mo Salah contract does not pay for itself.
I'll tell you what, Xander's going to look great in a Phil's uniform next year.
It's going to look so clean.
Oh, I can't wait for them. That's going to be the next, like, what the fuck is this team doing trade is when they have to get rid of Devers.
Put me to the front of the line, baby.
Yep.
Put me to the front of the line.
The Blue Jays got a couple of players. They traded for Whit Merrifield, which just seems like now he's going to have to get vaccinated.
Help.
Harrison Bader went to the Yankees as well for Jordan Montgomery. Jose Quintana goes to the Cardinals, which was another like Phillies target. That was the other pitcher that was like, being thrown around in Philly circles, which I was fine letting him go to the Cardinals. He knows that division well, so it makes a lot of sense being, he spent a ton of time with the Cubs. I mean, overall, I think the Phillies had one of the better trade deadlines across the board outside of, like we said, the Padres, the Yankees, maybe the Twins.
Yeah.
Because the Twins also got the Orioles closer, Jorge Lopez, and they got Michael Fulmer from the Tigers. And then I think the Mariners going and getting Luis Castillo was huge for them.
That's like an intent signing, too.
Yeah.
That you just haven't, it's very uncharacteristic for them to make a big splash. That's why I didn't think that they would.
They're in the wild card race,
Yeah.
And I think that helps them push further to kind of lock up one of the top 2 wild card spots in the American League.
It helps, too, that just looking at who's in the wild card race.
It's them, the Blue Jays, and the Rays.
No, yeah, and really only them and the Blue Jays made moves. The Rays I think are kind of just standing pat, and the Guardians, Orioles.
The Rays were part of that 3-team trade with the Astros,
right,
and somebody else.
I'd say nothing super significant from.
They
the
just
Rays
upgraded center field defense.
Yeah, the American League. Well, I kind of just see it ending as it is. I see the Blue Jays, Mariners, Rays.
Especially since the Orioles traded off
Yeah.
big pieces.
Whereas we're like, nah, we're
not this year, folks. We're not in it this year.
You got to give us 4 more years.
Unreal. And I think it's wild that the Brewers traded Josh Hader because he still has another year of being under contract. But I mean, they got 4 prospects back, and they're still in the thick of things. I think they're leading the NL Central.
Yeah. It feels like one of those maybe just got out in the right time.
Yeah.
It's like I think some teams like that, I think the Brewers are like that, where it's like rather would be out a year early than a year late. And it's a fine risk bet to make if you're the Padres, because if you're right, you get one of the best relief pitchers in baseball, and it's just get a lead to the 7th or 8th inning, and boom, you won.
Yep.
And
the Brewers also have Devin Williams,
right,
who can close for them now.
I feel like the Brewers have always had good relief pitchers.
Yeah,
they're just one of those teams.
They also got one
them
of their
in Cleveland
back.
Yeah, I think it's the heartland of America. Actually, is just very good at developing pitchers. That velo pouch, it's all the cheese. It's all the cheese and beer.
Sticky stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what the Phillies did was better than what the Cardinals did, and that helps because the Cardinals are chasing the Phillies for that 3rd wild card spot. Don't know if you're going to catch the Padres now for that 2nd spot. And I mean, who knows what happens with the Braves? With what the Padres did, they could potentially surpass the Braves for the 1st wild card spot, and then Phillies and Braves are duking it out in terms of positioning in the division for that wild card spot. The NL wild card got very interesting with the trade deadline.
Yeah, definitely competitive. So we're 6.5 back of the Braves. Problem is we can't make up ground on them. I mean,
whenever we win, they win.
Yeah, we just have not.
We'll lose one game in a span of 12 games, and they'll win that
13
one.
straight. So we still have. We have 6 games. No, I'm sorry. We have 7 games. We have a 3-game and a 7-game series. 3-game and a 4-game series. Jesus. Still against the Braves. So theoretically you could make that up. You're not sweeping the Braves
Right.
though in both series, but yeah, like we mentioned, a lot of national series left, which is very nice.
Huge.
That'll help.
I wonder
but
who else is on the Braves schedule this year for the rest of.
I want to say that they have a pretty challenging schedule the rest of the way. Yeah, so they're about to get into the series with the Mets,
That's big.
Red Sox, Marlins, Mets again. They got the Astros. They got the Cardinals, so they could kind of do us a favor at the end of August. Their September's not terrible. Athletics, Mariners, Giants, us, Nats, us. Yeah, they're closing out with the Mets and the Marlins.
It's a tough rest of August for sure.
Their August is challenging, definitely more challenging than ours is, I would say. But they got some tough series in there. I would say overall they probably have the more challenging series.
I mean, August is going to be the month that the Phillies really have to take advantage.
Yes,
Because
you're playing some overall pretty bad teams outside of that Mets
Washington,
series.
Miami, Cincinnati, 7 against the Mets.
Yeah.
Cincinnati again, Pittsburgh, Arizona. Like, that's where you're going to be able to.
You got to make up some ground there,
Right.
for sure. Starts tomorrow against the Nationals.
And I mean,
Let's sweep these absolute lagoons.
can we just talk more about the Nationals and just how silly it was that they told their social media manager. I feel so bad for their social media manager. To tweet out a picture just captioned "Forever" with Juan Soto walking into the dugout with the World Series banner there. You tweet that as you willingly trade your 23-year-old once-in-a-generation player for,
It's tough.
in the grand scheme of things, nothing.
Right.
With 2.5 years of control left.
Like you get like 2 starters out of that deal, maybe.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
That's brutal stuff. I mean, I'll say this: good for them, I guess, because they won a championship. But they are, I think, one of the greatest what-if teams from the last, like the Nationals from the last 5 years, and the players that they've had. Like,
They just proved how
just-
lucky that World Series was.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Like,
True fluke
Strasburg's
stuff.
arm fell off. Corbin was a one-hit wonder. Harper left the year before. Rendon left right after the World
And
Series.
Rendon has not been healthy since.
And then you lose.
You just rode the tidal wave of Max Scherzer.
Scherzer gone, Trey Turner gone, Kyle Schwarber gone,
Just crazy
and now
stuff.
Juan Soto gone.
Don't get it.
Just a miserable franchise.
Send him back. Send him back to Montreal. That's what I say.
Stolen franchise. I saw people too complain, talking about Nationals fans on Twitter. I was like, those exist?
It's very few.
Remember when they tried to bring back take back the ballpark initiative?
I do. I remember when they.
I think
tweeted
this
that
is just karma.
I remember when they tweeted that it's actually really easy to beat Philadelphia, and it's been
Pretty
curtains
difficult.
for them since.
And that's
tough.
across sports, not just baseball.
It's tough.
Um,
I saw this, which I didn't quite realize. Speaking of just tough times, because I never quite put 2 and 2 together, but people have been talking about it a lot since Moniak got traded. So, with Mickey Moniak getting traded today, that officially closes the door in the 15-month span in 16-17, where all 4 Philly teams had the first or second overall pick in the draft, and ended up with Wentz, Moniak, Simmons, Nolan Patrick, and Fultz.
I want to talk about the biggest what-if situation.
What if? What if? I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more.
Who would have
to add,
thought
actually.
Moniak would have been the last one to survive?
And the one that's still I mean, Simmons, Ben still has a bright career ahead of him because he could still be an all-star and whatever. I mean, Ben Simmons, I guess, Wentz is hard to grade.
Yeah,
Technically, Super Bowl champion, right?
correct.
So it's hard to
By proxy.
So he won. He did win a championship, which is the ultimate goal.
Did not play in said championship, but has the ring.
Has the ring.
Was the reason they got there.
Right. So I guess you kind of have to put Wentz as the best. Maybe not as an individual player, but in terms of accomplishment. I mean, listen, you win a championship. That's just kind of it. And then I guess Ben.
I kind of lean right now, in terms of just the way their careers are going, Fultz is kind of rebounded.
Yeah, he's still dealing with injury stuff. I mean, just take your pick between Moniak, Patrick, and Fultz. I don't know. I don't think you're getting.
I think Moniak still has.
Moniak, at least you have the hope, like,
Yeah.
and is seems like a likable person too.
Back home too, so maybe that helps. But man, I don't know. I mean, the Flyers will probably have a number 1 pick in the near future if they don't trade it away to try to put another Band-Aid on them. I don't know which of the other 3 teams will ever be close to having a top 1 or 2 pick again in the near future, like in the next what?
So the Eagles technically didn't in that draft, and neither did the Sixers.
Right.
For Fultz and
The
for Wentz.
picks swapped for Fultz. They traded
Fultz,
up for
Fultz we
Wentz.
traded up. Fultz we traded up with with Boston. Yeah, and then traded up for Wentz.
Yeah, because
So.
the Eagles were at 13.
And I mean, really, the Flyers were not that bad of it. They won,
they
the
won the
lottery to move up to 2 in just total Flyers fashion. You gotta love it. You gotta love that stuff. That's good stuff right there.
I think we should see what Noah Syndergaard's auto-generated texting service responds with. So we're going to text Noah Syndergaard live on the show right now, just to see what this texting service provides.
Very excited for Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people like bashing it, and I'm like,
I think sometimes people get a little. Here's the thing, and again, it goes back to the Rodon thing because I think that's who Phillies Twitter especially wanted. I think people get a little tunnel vision sometimes, and like I said, Rodon has been great this year, no denying that. But there is a reason that a pitcher as great as him is as openly available as he was. Like, that's it. So let's just relax. All right, it's gonna be okay that we didn't get Rodon. Life will move on. And I just know for a fact that should we have traded for him, he would have had season-ending carpal tunnel surgery tomorrow or something. Like, just the way it would have gone 100%. Noah Syndergaard, he's not. I don't think he's in like that top tier of pitcher that was on the market, but still a very, very good pitcher.
yeah, like we said, like this is his first full season back from the surgery and everything. I think it's going to work out. He's back with Zach Wheeler. And I think this city will embrace the living hell out of him. I think he's that type of player. I'm excited about it. He was like my 1B to Rodon. Like, if they would have gotten Rodon, I would have been stoked. Syndergaard, I wanted them to get in addition to Rodon. So by all accounts, I'm fine with it. And you'll see what he does in the rotation. You also have Ranger Suarez and Kyle Gibson behind him. I think he's going to perform really well. He's wearing number 43, formerly worn by Nick Pivetta. And he'll take the mound on your birthday, Matt. He's pitching tomorrow at Citizens Bank Park.
And I knew I should have bought those tickets.
Very excited for that. I mean, it is pretty wild that the Phillies have 2 former studs from the New York Mets pitching rotation now in their own rotation. One via free agency, one via trade. I mean, I don't know what the outcome for the Phillies will be now, as we move forward through the rest of August and September and hopefully into October, but you got to think these moves push them over the top to get into the playoffs.
I sure hope so. I got to tell you. I sure hope so.
Because they need it. And it would be very funny to have 2 former Mets studs be a big reason as to why they get into the playoffs.
Yeah. I think even outside of the moves, it's just going to be up to this team to do it. It's like very much in their control now. Destiny's in their hands. So I feel good about the Phillies, which is a big
at this
big,
point
big
of the
red
year.
flag
It's big.
to me. It's a big red flag to me. Now I'm worried because now that I just said that out loud, I've vocalized that I'm kind of positive about this team. That makes me nervous. So we'll see.
How down bad do you think Ken Rosenthal is right now after recording a podcast for The Athletic and writing an article saying that firing Joe Girardi wouldn't fix the Phillies back on May 31st?
So I want to be sympathetic to him and say that
we love Ken.
I probably would have agreed. Probably like, yeah, I think this place just sucks. Like Alec Boehm, you know. And I didn't think we would fire Girardi. And I think that was kind of the opinion of a lot of people, simply because he's expiring this year. And, you know, what alternative was there, really? Shouldn't act like Rob Thompson was clearly the guy that we needed to have. Like, no one was banging the table for Rob Thompson, okay? No one was doing that. Even after, like, his first series where it was great, like, well, you know, it's Rob Thompson. I mean, come on. What do we, you know, let's relax. And we have not relaxed since then.
Do you think he's managed his way into being the manager next year?
Yeah, when he wins a World Series.
Valid.
Girardi just didn't feel like putting in 6 more months of work to get to a World Series. He's like, I just never understood
the Girardi signing from the beginning. Like, he was working at MLB Network, and I was like, why?
That's a move that rarely works.
Yeah. Why are you going to pull him from TV?
The guy that's been on TV, the only, and I mean, it's probably the best example, is Steve Kerr. That's like the only guy that I can think of that is
and
worked.
As of right now, we all know they're going to collapse. Buck Showalter has been good for the Mets.
Sure, but it's the Mets. They're
going to fall apart. It already happened last night.
They're going to, now that I said it, it's totally going to happen. They're going to fall out of the division. They're going to have to play the Dodgers in the wild card, and they're going to lose. And Steve Cohen is going to lose his mind.
Did you see last night somebody tweeted something about the Met? Like, DeGrom starts over the past X amount of games. He has like a 1.92 ERA or something for the Mets. And
yeah, those games were played in 2017. We didn't even have COVID the last time DeGrom pitched a full season.
There's a sports gambler out there who has faded Jacob DeGrom and has been plus like $3,000 when he fades DeGrom.
You gotta love it.
It's absolutely incredible. But yeah, Nick Castellanos is back. Hits a home run today. Has his moment. Hello, haters. How are you? Our guy is here. I mean, he's been showing positive signs. It's not like it looked like he's checked out. Like, he's just a guy that cares, and he's been hitting the ball well. It hasn't been for power, but he's been getting on base over the past, I'd say, like 2.5 weeks, and it finally came to fruition. He hits his first home run since June. That's an acquisition in and of itself.
Maybe he just needed a little Jim Salisbury. Salisbury coach him up, you know? Maybe Jim Salisbury just knew what he was doing the entire time. He's like Doctor Strange. Like, this is what... I'm telling you, we win a World Series. We're going to look back on the moment and be like, he knew something we didn't.
That's going to be the cover of the Phillies yearbook.
He analyzed all 1 million whatever situations. This is the one. This is one where we win. So...
And I hate using that's an acquisition in and of itself, but Bryce Harper and Gene Segura are coming back.
It is. When you haven't had Gene for 2 months,
yep,
and haven't had Bryce for a month, it is.
And it feels like longer.
Yeah.
Haven't had Bryce in the field since April.
Right. I mean, that will actually be an acquisition as well, in that you'll actually have the DH back.
Yeah.
Which
I think will take so much pressure off of Castellanos. And we
saw Schwarber out there, get him going.
We saw in spring training, too, and early in the season when Castellanos was hitting behind Bryce Harper, success was there. And
right.
He was a much more confident approach at the plate. It gave him more opportunities. It's going to lengthen this lineup that much more. And I think with Gene coming back, do you think it spells the end for one Didi Gregorius?
I think you gotta have that conversation at least.
Because
fortunately,
you traded for Sosa, who is a plus defender. Bryson Stott is a plus defender and a better bat in terms of power and overall hitting right now than Didi. I just don't know where he kind of fits into the equation.
Not much.
It's tough.
It is tough, but it's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Made a bet on Didi, and we lost it.
And, of course, we can't have anything positive in terms of the Phillies the day after the trade deadline. We have to throw articles out there about Phillies could trade Rhys Hoskins this offseason. When is that going to end?
When he resigns.
Like, goddamn. The Rhys Hoskins roller coaster of people just trying to throw the heartbeat of this team out of town blows my mind.
Yeah, it's especially weird when it's like Philly people doing it.
Yeah.
But
It's like this guy is a clubhouse leader. He wants to be here. It's not like a guy that's like, oh, I'm here for the money or I'm here because, I just have to be. Rhys Hoskins wants to be here.
yeah,
I just don't understand the slander and the hate that he
I
gets.
think he's just a scapegoat for people.
That's valid.
So that's what it is. It's unfortunate, but a lot of teams have him, and Rhys has just been a lightning rod for a lot of the Phillies, like just general struggles have been put on Rhys. Not that Rhys is perfect, but good player. I think people lose sight of that sometimes.
On and off the field.
Yeah.
Speaking of lightning rod, Matt, and this will be brought to you by the homies over at Pickup. You guys can go to playpickup.com, start playing the hottest headlines in sports, rack up points on your fan profiles, cash them in for prizes. That's playpickup.com. Union have a new player as well.
They do. Few new players, and they have this Ghanaian center back who I think is going to mostly just be with the Union 2 system. They also got Odabo's a center defensive midfielder. Seems like someone that's going to be more like a depth signing, but they've been cruising along. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but it's just been like the best 4-game stretch in Union history. So
No big deal.
that's been cool. A lot of guys hitting just the ground running now too, and the offense is clicking. You got Gazdag and Carranza and Ua just all combining very well for goals. That trio each has at least 8 goals, which is among the best in the league, if not the best, I think, actually. So, I just think, what's weird, too, is that they've done this, amazing recruiting and scouting, and LA Galaxy signing, Ricky Puig from Barcelona, who's, this, cast off from there, who's, got all types of... Dude just loves TikTok too much, that's the beat on him. And they just don't get the recognition for that. And I think this is the best Union team I've seen. And I think this is the year they actually get over the line. But they just feel like a complete setup right now because the worry, I'd say the first part of the season is that offensively this team is not scoring enough, and they're not going to be scoring like they've scored the last few weeks. That's just very obviously
Right.
A little bit of an outlier. However, I think the confidence that you're getting and the chemistry between that front three especially is really, really promising. So I like the direction that they're heading.
Did you see Andre Blake rocking the Sixers Nikes as well?
I did. Some good crossover there.
As Uncle Zoe would say, this is the year.
Honestly, it really feels like something special. I mean, you look at
Across the board, too, outside of, that team in orange and black.
Right.
Vibes are great around the Sixers right now. Phillies
until the
feel
season
great.
starts. The
That's
Sixers
true.
are a great off-season kind of team. It's I feel good about it. And then you watch them play. You're like, I'm actually
Yeah. Then
not so sure about
the
this
investigation will lead into the season from Adam Silver.
And they're on it. They're on the Knicks too. Tough.
Vibes feel good around the Eagles.
Yes.
The Union vibes are great.
Union vibes are very good.
Feels really good. Doc Rivers also said that James Harden's calling him way too much this offseason.
Yeah.
Doc's probably like, I'm on the golf course, James. Leave me the fuck alone. Dog, I dropped 2 pounds.
It's water weight. That's like a hard practice. It's like losing 2 pounds.
It's his body armor.
Jesus.
Oh, man. Phils feel good, though. Phils feel good, which is a great sign as they head into a 4-game series against the Nationals. Trade deadline's come and gone. I don't know about you. Do you miss the waiver deadline with baseball?
To be honest, not really. It's not something that occupied a lot of space in my mind. I know you miss it.
I miss it a little bit simply because there were moments where like big moves got made with the waiver deadline. And like sometimes I just miss like that happening, like mid-August, like some random big name player just gets moved from a shit team and goes and helps somebody. Like Verlander was a waiver deadline acquisition for the Astros when he went there.
Right.
So I miss like that kind of stuff. But overall, I think getting rid of it puts way more pressure on GMs and owners to be like, all right, you want to make a move? You have until this day. Go do it. Like
Right.
you don't get to wait around and hope that somebody gets put on waivers.
Yeah. There's like a nice spontaneity about it, I think, that people like. But
Do you think the Phil's acquisitions or the Phil's DFAs were the better moves?
I tell you this, there's no relief quite like getting people you hate out of your life. So I'll say that there's a burden that has been purged.
I think both are.
Both of them for being terrible people and not good baseball players. So
And both
Feels
ends
nice.
of that spectrum made the team better.
yes, that's the thing too. It's like a double whammy
Yeah.
where, you get them off, and you get better while doing it. Turns into a no-brainer.
Dan Wilson compared the Phillies trade deadline to college move-out day.
Yeah, it's like
You got rid of some of the trash and stuff that's
You're
been laying
cleaning
around.
out the locker, and it's like you're just moving on to better things.
Yeah. You brought in some things that, may not be here long term or, don't look great on the surface, but you'll end up using them when you go back home. It's college move-out day. That
Yes.
is your Phil's trade deadline. That's all we got for you guys this week. Make sure you follow us on the socials at Underground PHI on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Castorina. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com, for all of our written content. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple and Spotify. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. And smash that like button, click the bell icon so you don't miss a single episode of your favorite Underground Sports Philadelphia shows. Shout out to our sponsors who make this show happen: Main Auto LLC, Ducharme's Pro Foot, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, Mark Ronchetti CPA LLC, and the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland. Tom Lark Shades, Pickup, Kenwood Beer, and Bino Board. All of their information is linked in the description on YouTube and in the show notes on audio. This has been Underground Sports Philadelphia, episode number 452. Stick around on Facebook.com/UndergroundSportsPHI if you're watching live, Twitter at FC Top Bins, and right here on Twitch potentially. We will have an episode of Top Bins coming at you with Matt and Dom breaking down Serie A. But until then, we're getting the heck out of here and we're signing off. Peace.